morning. I have a bit of a confession to make. I am being a bit of a hypocrite today. I am at Cape Disappointment State Park and I am searching for an iconic image. I am an advocate for visiting the smaller places on our planet to photograph them. Every small place should be a photographic destination and could be. We just need to look beyond the obvious and find that story of that place, the story that it's telling us and that we want to share with others. And so here I am at Cape Disappointment, which is a smaller place. And I come down here a lot because I have a lot of different images in my head from this area. And I know they're great stories to be told down here. But I'm down here today to try and catch an iconic image. And have a little mixed feelings about that. I don't necessarily need that image. I have wonderful images of this park that I can't wait to share it with people. And have shared with people, and they absolutely love them. But for some odd reason, I want to try and catch this image. And, well, it's not for some odd reason. I know exactly why. I want to play with the big boys. People come down here and get images of waves crashing on the cliffs below Cape Disappointment Lighthouse and get likes and tons of likes. And people say, oh my gosh, you're an amazing photographer. And I kind of want to hear that sometimes. So here I am down here hoping to catch wonderful waves crashing on the cliffs below Cape Disappointment Lighthouse. I have an amazing image of Cape Disappointment Lighthouse, but I still want this other image because there's drama, there's excitement, and people like that. And so like I said, I'm a little mixed feelings about being down here, and I just wanted to make that confession because really, even when you go to those iconic locations and you try not to do that iconic image, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you just have to try and tell that story yourself. This is a story that's well known with people throughout the Pacific Northwest, and I want to put my spin on it. I don't necessarily need to. Maybe I might be adding to the noise that's out there, or maybe, and I might not even get it today. I've come down here several times trying to get that image, and it just never happens. And maybe somebody else is telling me that I don't need that image, that there is just so much more to this park than that image. And there is, and I've seen them, and I've created them. And so I just wanted to stop and share that with you, that sometimes even if you try and avoid those iconic places, even if you try to avoid those iconic images, sometimes you just need to do them because, having validation in your work is kind of nice. And in this image, maybe it won't give me the validation I need or I'm looking for, but maybe it will. And otherwise, I'm just going to give it one more try, and I might decide down the line never to try again, and I might decide down the line to try again. And it all depends on what happens later today. But I'm going to go for a walk. There's a trail that I haven't explored here yet. There's two of them, actually, that I'm kind of hoping to, kick out of the ballpark today. And then hopefully midday, when the tides are coming in and the waves were just amazing this morning on Benson Beach, to be able to go to Waikiki Beach and get the image that so many other really cool photographers have gotten, and see what happens from there. I may like it, I may not like it. I just need to try it. Thank you for listening. Well, it's been several months since I recorded that little bit, and I just wanted to go and explain just a little bit more what I meant. Yes, I do ask, and I search for the non-iconic images myself, and I do tell people to look beyond the iconic images, but sometimes you just have to get those iconic images because you gotta. It's what you're there for. It looks cool. It's pretty. There's a reason it's pretty. And so I wanted to explain a little bit more that there is so much more, especially that park, but every park, every place you visit, there's so much more to see and do and photograph. And I wanted to take this time and go through a couple of the images I really love that I've created in previous years and previous visits to Cape Disappointment. And so let's go ahead and take a look at those.
Looking at this image, you might ask if this was made on my more recent trip at Christmas. You have nice waves crashing along the cliffs that lead your eye to the Cape Disappointment lighthouse. But I made this image years ago, and it's one of the reasons I questioned my motivations on my more recent trip. I love this image. I love the waves, the lighthouse, and the piece that really makes this image for me is the container ship in the distance entering the mouth of the Columbia River. You can almost imagine the ship of modernity to have masts like the ships of the explorers who searched for the mouth of the Columbia River. There is a sense of timelessness and a sense of the passage of time in this image. I love it so much that I expect it to be the image in my book. Anyone who reads my blog will recognize this image. It's the header image for my blog. Again, it shows the timelessness of this park and the passage of time. A pathway to follow to a place both mysterious and known. In 2005, on the 200th anniversary of Lewis and Clark traveling the Columbia River to the Pacific Ocean, construction began on the Confluence Project. The Confluence Project is a series of art installations along the Columbia River and tributaries that explore the confluence of history, culture, and ecology. Maya Lin, who designed the Vietnam War Memorial in D.C., created the installations. The pathway here, which is part of the project, leads you across a meadow to a view of the ocean. On each plank along the way, you read an excerpt from the journals of Lewis and Clark, a short journey following in their footsteps. There are two lighthouses at Cape Disappointment State Park. The first is Cape Disappointment Lighthouse, situated at the mouth of the Columbia River and is the subject of the iconic wave images. The second, less dramatic lighthouse is North Head Lighthouse, on a bluff a few miles north of the mouth of the Columbia River and overlooking Benson Beach. Like I said, it's not as dramatic, but when you get the right light, a late afternoon light on the building, it sparkles in the sun. I was hoping for that image when I created this one. I can't tell you how many times I've traveled down to photograph North Head Lighthouse in the sun only to get gray skies. This evening, however, the clouds turned gold, as they often do at the end of winter days. The sky became a beacon enveloping the sailor's beacon in warmth and peace. While lighthouses on cliffs are spectacular and dramatic, I also love getting in close to them to photograph more intimately their character. Standing on edges of wilderness, they become familiar to the frosty of ocean emotions, which can take a toll on the fascia of these beacons of humanity. I find the cracks and discolored concrete fascinating to photograph. I love this image for those flaws, but also the special touch of the GPS coordinates on the board. The image gives you a sense of being there, looking at and feeling the chilled air and rustic history. Speaking of historic buildings, Fort Canby once resided on this bit of land extending south into the mouth of the Columbia River. The importance of the Columbia River to commerce and population was so great that the U.S. government built Fort Canby on the north, Fort Stevens on the south, and Fort Columbia a few miles upriver to protect Portland, Oregon from enemy incursion. Ultimately, the forts weren't needed and were mothballed by the military soon after World War II. The remains now stand as reminders of our frontier guarded by cement bunkers as they slowly decay back into the earth. I love the textures in this image. The moth and lichen splattered cement walls, this window devoid of light, the newer wooden bench that blends into its surroundings. I also love the unbalanced effect of the stairs in the upper corner that almost look like a hat jauntily placed low over the eye. I met this little guy carrying his lunch home while I was walking the trail through Baird's Hollow, a marsh area north of the main part of the park. I almost stepped on him as I filled my vision with the surrounding marsh and gnarled trees. In a form of apology, I lay down in front of him to capture his amazingness. The photo is a reminder that there is so much more to this park and every other park, that the awe-inducing images aren't always those grand landscapes with dramatic light. Sometimes it's the little creatures making their way home with a snack, or a leaf clinging to the drops of the morning rain, or even the smile of a friend. With an average of 62 inches of rainfall a year and consistent moist air of the ocean, life grows abundantly here. Nearly every surface is covered in the greens of grass, moss, or lichen. Not even trees and shrubs stand truly bare in winter. The trees become contorted through high winds, sandy soils, and brackish water. But I love photographing the skeleton-like, lichen-covered limbs reaching through the foliage. There is drama here, a drama of contrasts that fill the world with beauty.
And now that you've seen those and you've gotten a really good explanation of those images, I want to share with you the waves I was able to capture on Christmas Day. Enjoy. Enjoyed this video. It was a little different than what I would normally do. I might do this again. I kind of had fun putting it together. If you like the content of the video, of course, give me a thumbs up. If you like what's on my channel, subscribe. There's going to be a lot of great adventures and some great photography tutorials coming up. So I'd love to see you on the next adventure. Until then, bye.